What's up guys, welcome back to a new video on the Alien Algo channel. Today we'll be looking at the markets. Again, I do have to state my concern here a little bit since we rejected from that previous week open, which came from right here, which also currently is correlating with the resistance area we got previously right here. So we wanted to get back above this, which we currently are not doing. On the daily, we see that the bubbles are starting to turn a little bit red and we don't see any big green bubbles, which means that the sellers are clearly in control. The 4-hour pretty much confirms this. If I remove all the drawings, you simply see the staircase being formed, which looks more like controlled selling than controlled buying. So I want to make this video a little bit shorter because it's simply not really looking that good, and I want you guys to be prepared for both scenarios. So now let's turn off the value finder and let's get back into the levels. When we look at the 4-hour, we of course had this box that we wanted to see get flipped, which we right here were able to do. Get that break above, we got that retest giving us some good longs, and we rejected from this. So this key area I really want to see hold, and otherwise I'm looking a little bit more towards the bearish side if I'm going to be honest. So what did I do to kind of save myself in this case? I saw this rejection right here and I opened a little short. Well, of course I was still long on E since these previous lows right here. I took some small profits on this part. I added right here on the New York open sweep as stated in Vector's Discord. But we do have to be a little concerned if we look at the 30 minutes, because of course with a range you can either break up from it or give a fake break, which we got. So also this fake break correlated with that major resistance area from right here, which also is in confluence with the higher time frame range with the 0.75 level. Excuse me. So for that lower time frame, we simply want to see either this hold, or when we look at the 5 minutes, I've already drawn it right here, we want to see this simply get flipped. But I am leaning more towards a possible break, giving us the opportunity to look at lower prices right here. For BTC itself, I stated of course earlier that we do have the opportunity to get back into these levels right here. Because if we simply look at it, we have untapped lows right here and right here. So we really need to hold this area in order for me to be bullish on the lower time frames. Because if we also look at the 5 minutes, it's quite clear that we're in a downtrend again. So when we look at the value finder on that 30 minutes, this also is confirming it right here with the green bubbles disappearing, and the brighter the color, the stronger the buying. And we simply see sellers have taken over around this area. The same goes for ETH. For this I need a perpetual chart. So right here we still are holding it, but the thing you see on this run up and on this retest right here, we had green bubbles, and as you can see we barely had red. Now we don't have any green bubbles. So the thing we still want to see is it hold this range and perhaps get some green bubbles when we hold it, or we reclaim that 5 minute high that I pointed out. So I'm really leaning more towards downside than upside, if I have to be honest. So when we look at this 5 minutes, there is still a chance to flip this and get back above. But when we look at it, it looks more like controlled selling than controlled buying. It's the 30 minutes right here. And the moment, if this really manages, I need the perpetual chart to illustrate it a little bit better, because I've changed it for the perpetual chart, so you can already see the difference. Here, there was a flip on the perpetual chart. There wasn't, and we only flipped here. So you quite clearly see what happens when we flip it. It really is not that great. But let's get into more of the levels. The range, quite clear. For BTC, I want to see this hold on the 4-hour. And otherwise, I would simply be looking at this scenario, to be honest. Which also, there is a lot of volume delta right there. Let's see if I got it. I see I have the wrong version right here, so we don't see the volume delta levels, but it's quite clear that that level is quite crucial. So when we are looking at this, I really can't be that bullish. And also on that 1 minute, we are trying to make some higher lows, but there comes the thing. Here we also did this pattern, and this we called controlled selling. So this really was not looking that good, unless you of course were scalping. You would have gotten a short opportunity here to long, but there of course could be a little chance that we still manage to hold the books, but when we simply weigh it, I don't really like this downside versus upside. Because if we look at the upside, it's simply this, because the previous week open proved to be a big resistance. And really this area right here is your first, like, big support. So when we weigh this down, it's like a 1-to-1, which I don't like to trade if this would be a swing. And for ETH, we really can't be bullish here, in my opinion. Because this, unless it reclaims this and we manage to break back above that 0.5 level from this mid-term range, I'm more leaning towards downside. The same goes for ETH BTC. I still expect this to be the range, and I don't think we should be breaking down from this higher time frame range. I still think we do some ranging and then we just randomly break out. As you know, ETH, it just, when it breaks, it's almost random timing, so it will be quite explosive when it breaks out. So the best case scenario I'm currently looking at is for Bitcoin, we still see some pattern like this, but then just a little bit deeper. Because the thing I wanted to illustrate with this is more how we form some bottoms. I didn't mean it like we form the bottom right here. No, this is more the pattern, where we get some support, get some upside, showing people, okay, maybe it's a good opportunity to buy. We stop them out. Here they be like, oh fuck, I missed this move, let me get in. And then they get fucked again, and then really the bottom is in. So this is more of a pattern that you would like to see, but this is not like I meant it should be going here. because we simply needed to reclaim this previous weekly open, which we did not. So to sum it up, we want to hold this for the 4 hour. Otherwise, we're looking at this for the 5 minutes. We would like to reclaim these highs. So let me illustrate it like here. And then I'm talking about this part of price action, which, of course, with the staircase logic, we look at the highs, we look at the lows, and I think there's more weight to the highs currently, because that is correlating with this previous low as well, which is why I tell this is more the part we need to be looking at. So for ETH, it's quite clear. We want to see this being reclaimed before I can be bullish again. I am still holding my ETH long with an average entry around right here, because I long some, I TP'd some, and I added some back right here. So I currently have my stop below this range, because I think if we break this range that we simply go back either towards these highs or even worse to this low, which could of course get some bleed to alts, which we already are seeing with Banana, one of my favorite alts, of course. Simply see this really is not looking that great, and if we simply illustrate a little part I like to look at always is the ranging. Unable to break the highs of the range. Here we were able to break those highs. Here on 1 hour we had a range as well, which we were unable to break. And now we simply see that we are forming some new range, which we this far were unable to break above, with us currently dropping a little below that 0.25 level, which I'll quickly remove all of these to clean up the chart a little. If we look at virtual, we had a little bounce, giving us this move towards the upside, unable to reclaim the previous lows. And for hype, we saw quite a nice move from the call I made, which I wanted to see a sweep of this, and we got that little bit of upside. For TIA, I didn't take the trade right here. As I stated, I was long right here, I closed it right here. It just didn't really show that much strength for me, so I wanted to see it get, to be honest, get above this part. Because if this part gets reclaimed, we perhaps can see some more upside. And there is still a lot of upside for this if it starts to gain some momentum. With momentum, I rather like to play the momentum than try to catch the bottom, because I don't really like to be the one, oh yeah, this is the bottom. No, I really don't. I just want to make money on the trend. So with that being said, let's get onto Ondo, which of course was the RWA coin. Here we really want to see this box hold. For Pendle, we also are forming lower highs. So with that being said, I wanted to keep this a little shorter. I see that I was unable to do so, but I think this moment is a little crucial, so which is why I made it a little longer. So for the 5-minute trigger, it will be breaking this high, creating a higher low, with, of course, if we get this, it simply will mean that we broke these highs and we create a higher low above this, where we perhaps could get a setup like this, which will be a trade I would like to take if given. So with all that said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys learned something. Don't be full risk on, of course, like always. never bet the house. So watch the triggers, and I hope my idea gets invalidated, but yeah, we do have to be a little bit on the safe side. So simply watch the triggers for Bitcoin, of course. This is the area to flip. For Bitcoin, simply because it looks weaker, I wouldn't like to get... How is that? So for Bitcoin, I would want to see this area get flipped, and the 4 hour to hold this, and otherwise I'm looking at this box right here. So guys, have a nice day, keep trading, and on to the next video.